your city has bad traffic jams? Well, navigation app Waze has actually determined which places have the worst gridlocks. Based on its Global Driver Satisfaction Index, or GDSI, Manila has the worst traffic in the world. The dubious distinction was bestowed on the Philippine capital because of the low scores it got in a survey of the app's 50 million users. The GDSI measures 6 factors: traffic level, which is based on the frequency and severity of gridlocks; road quality and infrastructure; driver safety, based on the number of accidents; road hazards and weather; driver services, such as access to gas stations and parking; and the so-called Waziness of the area, which is a gauge of the helpfulness of the app within the community. Now, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the most miserable with traffic, Manila scored a dismal 0.4. It also registered the longest average commuting time at 45.5 minutes. For Newsbeat Social, I'm Cambry Caldwell.
Stranded na sa EDSA Monumento ang mga pasahero pupuntang Bulacan dahil sa welga kontra sa phase-out ng mga jeep. Live nandun sa Caloocan si April Rafales. April.
Umagang kay ganda, George. Yung nakikita ninyong dami ng mga tao dito sa likuran ko ay doble pa yung dami dyan kung babaybayin natin itong EDSA Monumento kung saan maraming stranded. Pare-pareho silang hindi alam na meron palang tigil pasada dito. May mga estudyante at may mga nagtatrabaho. Ang masaklap dyan, karamihan sa kanila ay nagtatrabaho sa mga factory sa Bulacan kung saan minimum wage earners sila.
Pag may sinabi yung gobyerno to protect public health and to protect public interest, kailangan sundin natin yan. Kaya, if we fail, it means more money for lung cancers and for respiratory diseases. Mga anak natin, maging bubo yan. Stand still on traffic, it does not move. And all the time, people of the Philippines are inhaling the fumes. Kung maintindihan ninyo yan, nakikinig kayo ngayong piston, intindihan ninyo mabuti. Hindi ako papayag.
In the city of Marikina, Officer in charge for City Transportation Management and Development, Romy Rivera, lays down the particulars for the city's public transportation program. This is the GIS mapping for the public route transportation, Marikina's blueprint for its compliance with the Philippine government's omnibus franchising guidelines and the PUV modernization program. The Omnibus Franchising Guidelines, as expounded by the Business Mirror, are new guidelines for issuing public transportation franchises that aim to improve land public transport in the Philippines. This means that the franchises given the go signal by the government have been proven to be safe, comfortable, and environmentally sustainable vehicles. As such, public transport services are expected to be provided by local government units through their corresponding route plans. These plans are crafted according to passenger demands and road networks already in place and in use. The Department of Transportation's PUV modernization program, on the other hand, is, in its own way, a manifestation of the Omnibus Franchising Guidelines aimed to provide safe, comfortable, and environmentally sustainable vehicles through the implementation of national standards on all public utility vehicles. This also applies to the comprehensive screening of licensed drivers, to whom fair regulations shall apply to. In addition, the program hopes to modernize PUVs in the hopes of making public transportation safe and efficient for passengers and the general public, as well as reducing pollution resulting from the vehicles. This, unfortunately, means a phase-out of old PUVs, as well as the drafting of new route plans subject to the approval of the government. To see how well the guidelines and program have been adopted, integrated, and received by the public in real time, our group interviewed Sir Romy for the results of these in his city, Marikina. The GIS mapping for the public route transportation was designed and launched by the Engineering Department of Marikina City in 2002. This was achieved by using the known routes taken by public utility jeepneys passing through the city at that time. With regards to the regulation of all public transportation going in and out of the city borders, Marikina's Public Utility Transportation Franchising and Regulatory Board, or PUTFRB, and the City Transportation Management Development Office or CTMDO, creates and upholds ordinances that achieves this very objective. The city utilizes two main routes. The first begins from the General Romula Avenue and Aurora Boulevard intersection in District 2 of Cubao, Quezon City, and ends in SSS Village in Marikina. The second route, on the other hand, begins in the barangay of Parang in Marikina and ends in the aforementioned Cubao-bound intersection. Although no actual data regarding the number of commuters or passengers taking the PUJs passing through these routes have ever been taken note of, reports and interviews from the terminals situated along the routes have supplied a guesstimated figure of 1,000 commuters per day. On average, a total of 100 to 200 PUJs travel through the city on any given day. The presence of various other terminals along the routes affects the commuter demand. After all, if commuters from random terminals along these routes are headed to the same ultimate destination, the need to supply for more PUJs to meet this need increases as well. It's the basic law of supply and demand at work. Another factor that may contribute to the increasing demand for PUJs along Marikina's established routes could be the presence of facilities and accommodations for persons with disabilities. Installed and maintained by the city's engineering department, there are ramps and handrails provided for the easy access of PWDs in all terminals. Additionally, the fact that the two routes intersect with other LGU's own programs give way to an increased demand for the route-based PUJs. The General Romula Avenue and Aurora Boulevard intersection acts as a common point for the Marikina routes and two other routes of different LGUs. The first ends at Montalban, while the second ends at Barangay Silagan. A third route has the intersection as its endpoint, beginning in Santa Lucia instead. To make sure that traffic schemes are in place and conflict is avoided as much as possible among the intersecting routes, Marikina's LGU and the concerned LGUs of the intersecting routes have come up with a sound strategy. On the part of the PUJs not on the Marikina-based routes, they are still allowed to pass through the city and set up services for their respective routes, so long as they do not directly interfere with or affect the routes indicated in the GIS mapping for the public route transportation. Of course, the jeepney drivers recruited to join the program are thoroughly screened and processed. Interested drivers are asked to pass their proper documentation and their driver's ID, not to be confused with a standard driver's license, and are also required to attend seminars that are geared towards empowering them to know the importance of their work, in addition to familiarizing them with the respective ordinances and road safety measures they must abide by.
Sobrang maaring mawawalan kami rito ng halos kalahati sa kinikita namin. Kung kumita kami ng mga whole day, 800, haring kumita na lang kami dyan ng 400. Magkano naman ang gagastusin sa isang araw?
On a whole, the modernization of PUJs is considered to be an issue up for debate both inside and outside of Marikina, such as within the Land Transportation, Franchising and Regulatory Board of the Philippines itself. Within the borders of the city, however, the LGU requires drivers to regularly clean and uphold the standard of their vehicles. This can be ensured through the annual inspection of PUJ units and through the issuance of the city-endorsed sticker. Overall, the city of Marikina has seen quite a success with its public transportation program. After all, citizens and commuters alike have been observed to diligently obey the regulations, and drivers abide by the ordinances with fair success. The LGU officers attribute this to the fear of penalization should they deviate from the law. More than that, as a highly urbanized city, Marikina faces the challenge of a lack of parking spaces for vehicles. As such, the LGU is looking towards the better endorsement and promotion of public transportation in order to stem the flow and usage of private vehicles. To aid the program, the city has also provided new access roads to facilitate a smoother traffic flow. In conclusion, the government's guidelines and program seem to be beneficial for the city of Marikina. Drivers are informed and educated, passengers have easy and convenient access to public transportation, and on a whole, the PUJs follow the assigned routes. Whether the same level of success can be said of other cities' programs is something that yet leaves to be said.